Am I the a-hole for leaving my wedding with my wife? Title is confusing, so I will try to explain it as better as I can. Also, English isn't my first language, so sorry if this is hard to understand. I am 29, have been with my GFF 29 for about 6 years. We love each other very much and have a fulfilling relationship. We are however a very introverted couple, so when we discussed marriage, we were both on the idea that we didn't want a traditional wedding or a wedding at all. We wanted to go to a courthouse by ourselves, no friends or family, sing the paper, and then go to our honeymoon. In our country this is very weird since weddings are expected to be massive, over the top, and every member of the family must be invited, disregarding your level of closeness with them. We got engaged in relative secret since we were already living together and shared the information with our closest family when they asked for our plans, and we told them. They didn't take it very well, and a lot of fight began with both families, but especially with my mother and mother-in-law, who would not tolerate a marriage that didn't involve the Catholic Church. After a few months of fighting, and since there's a pandemic going on, we went ahead with our plans and got married by ourselves and went to a month-long stay in a secluded cabin. When we returned, suddenly all bad blood with our parents and extended family was magically gone, and both my mother and mother-in-law were again very friendly, as if nothing ever happened. After about 3 days since we came back, my mother-in-law invited us to the wedding of one of her friends as proof that all was forgotten. She said she would pick us up so that we wouldn't get lost, which was weird, but we didn't suspect anything. The day of the wedding we arrived at the location and see that everything is still being putting up, so we figured we were a bit early and should help. But then I saw my family and some of my in-laws. Turns out it was our wedding, and they had planned it to be a surprise. They already had a dress, church, food, DJ, everything. Of course, we were shocked, as we were very vocal that this is not something we wanted. Then they told us that since we were driven there, we wouldn't be able to leave and should just be grateful. Here the story becomes too long to fit the 3,000 limit, so to summarize, we called a friend to pick us up and we left. Of course, both families are super angry at us and constantly call us to tell us how ungrateful and disrespectful we are. At first, I thought we were right to leave as we made or reasons for not wanting a wedding, and especially a religious ceremony, but we've been told they invited over 200 people and felt very humiliated when everyone arrived and we weren't there, so now we are doubting, and there's nothing like asking strangers for judgment. So Reddit, am we the assholes? You're not the a-hole. They basically kidnapped you to perform for them. You had every right to leave. That's exactly what we felt. She drove us there, so we would have to stay. Basically we were taken as hostages. If they didn't want to be humiliated in front of 200 people, they shouldn't have done something humiliating in front of 200 people. This is purely the consequences of their actions. You were under no obligations to go along with it just to be polite. Also, since we were driven there, we can't leave. A taxi is not a thing. Buses, trams, trains or walking away, not a thing. You're not the a-hole. Some people are so anti-public transportation they forget it exists. I had my car break down on me some years back, and I couldn't afford to replace it. I lived on a bus line in a central location, so while it was a putter, it wasn't the end. Can't tell you how many people were like, oh my god, how are you going to get to work? Take the bus, my dude. Few sputters and some actually said that was too dangerous, laughing my butt off. Then they remembered the grocery, and I saw their brains explode when I told them I had one close by and I could just walk. The concept of just getting a couple days worth of stuff instead of one big shop for a couple weeks never crossed their mind, lol. You're not the a-hole. My husband and I eloped at the courthouse 19 years ago because of issues with family wanting a major and inappropriate say in our wedding. I have never regretted not giving into the guilt trips, screaming, and other forces brought against me. It's you let them win now. Your boundaries will never be respected. No is a complete sentence. They threw you a surprise wedding. You're not the a-hole. If any part of this is true, they're crazy as duck and you should cut contact. Although uncommon in my country and region, this type of surprised wedding is not unheard of, but it mostly happens When people get pregnant, or if both families are super conservative and find out that sex has been happening. Since this wasn't our case, we didn't suspect anything, but I can see why it would be hard to believe. I read a story a while back about a couple who were fighting both families over how the wedding should go. Like, the bride wanted to wear a slim, fitted dress, teal length, but the groom's mother insisted it should be a full-on princess style. The couple wanted a navy and silver theme, but the bride's mother insisted on pink and cream. Lots of stuff like that. Long story short, the couple got invited to a family reunion or a relative's 60th. Something like that, and when they got there it was a surprise wedding. The bride was pretty much manhandled into a princess wedding gown, and the groom, who had been led away when they arrived to come and meet your Uncle Bill from overseas or similar, was looking shell-shocked in a kilt at the front. He hadn't wanted to wear a kilt. It was a crazy ride, and totally believable, and was about 40 years ago. Both families teamed up against the couple. In a nutshell, you're not the a-hole. The humiliation was self-inflicted. You told them what you were going to do and did it. If they cannot respect that two consenting adults have their own ideas and preferences, that's their problem. Congratulations on the wedding you both wanted. You're not the a-hole. They had no right to do that. You told them you didn't want this and were hoping to embarrass, guilt, shame trap you into doing it anyway. They're upset that you put them in an uncomfortable position, but that's exactly what they'd planned for you. I'm glad you guys stood up to them as a team. Thank you. Ever since we announced our plans, the guilt trips and manipulation was been over the top. You're not the a-hole. They literally abducted you with the intention of forcing you to participate in a ceremony you have already stated you did not want to be part of. They abducted you and your wife to force you to participate in a wedding ceremony they planned against your will. And now they are angry because you found a way to leave. Literally abducted you. You aren't the asshole here. Your families are. You're already married. It's done. Their obsessive behavior is terrifying, and I hope the two of you can find a way to move past this. Congratulations to you and your wife. I'm glad you had the wedding you wanted, and I'm so sorry for what your families are doing to you. You're not the a-hole. A wedding ceremony is between two people, and how they envision the process is all about them, never for others. The ours are your mothers trying to force you to have anything other than you dreamt. You're not the a-hole. The surprise weddings are for the guests, not the people getting hitched. Your family earned any humiliation they felt turning away guests when they expressly went against your wishes about your wedding and tried trap you into one. You can lead an already married couple to the church, but you can't make them go through the ceremony. You're not the a-hole. Your family's plan was stupid, and it blowing up in their face was entirely their fault. But they still pulled both your families together, which is a little nice. You might have turned it into a pleasant gathering of food and music with family, and rolling your eyes at the instigators after taking charge and jettisoning the religious and ceremony aspects. You were clear that you were opposed to. Sort of keep your boundaries, but compromise just a little bit. Thinking about your future together with your families, you might want to figure out a way to have some kind of reception with them if you want to keep contact. Please subscribe